I think today I kind of want to talk about a concept that's been floating in my head a little bit. I think some of my videos really appeal to very empathic people and people that want to do a lot of self-growth work, but that are naturally in that mindset. And a lot of the times, empathetic people do a lot of inner growth work because they want to be the best they can be to the people around them and to the people they care about. So they try to work on themselves so that they can provide the best support and care and healing and love to people that they work with or people that they know in their lives. It's kind of like usually a lot of empaths have kind of a helping vocation or a helping default kind of presentation with people. But I think when you do a lot of self-growth work and you start working with whatever works for you, for some people they like more straight-laced self-help, just like here are the steps, here's what you need to do. Some people are into kind of a bit of manifestation, some people are into body regulation, some people are into kind of more spiritual understanding of growth work and kind of where their place is. I think the most important thing, particularly for empaths, but really for everybody that this kind of works for, is understanding that your job is not to fix people. I think what happens is empaths often will trigger something in people because they're very observant of other people, because they have been conditioned from a young age to kind of assess the emotional temperatures around them. So they're very good at picking up on what people around them need off them, and they kind of overcompensate, but they also can pick up people's personalities, their traits and their growth areas pretty quickly because they are quite self-analytical about their own growth areas. So they see it in other people, and often it's very triggering because the people that they might say it to don't want to do the growth work and haven't noticed those growth areas. And so sometimes empaths will find that they want to help people and they get an adverse reaction sometimes. Now, your job isn't to be a teacher as an empath and to say to people, this is your growth area. Did you know you do this to people? Did you know you need to do this? Blah, 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 blah. That's not the focus. Sometimes your role can be to highlight something within somebody, but it is always up to them with free will what they want to do. And often, I think what keeps people that are very empathetic stuck is that they can't fix someone. They can see the areas that they need to improve. They can see, like, if only they worked on this concept of their self-image and self-care, they would have this. If they only worked through this anxious attachment style, this avoidant attachment style, if they only did the work and put more effort in, they would get this out of their job. If they only changed their perspective to be more positive, like, this would happen for them. It's okay as an empath to be able to see that because you've actually trained your body from a very young age to notice, to read those emotional signals from people. That's a skill you've developed. It is not your job to fix people, and it is not your job to stay tied to people who don't want to change. But one important caveat to that, because I feel like the internet talks about this a lot, like, it's not your job, let them do, let them and let me. I think my important little end piece that I've kind of been mulling over since I've kind of been working in the self-help empathic space and trying to learn how to be an empath and to create boundaries. I think something that's really helped for me is you need to be in a state of unconditional love. And it's a very difficult state to be in, and sometimes it's a difficult state to maintain when you're very low in energy yourself. But when you come across people and you feel this urge to help and they don't want to help themselves, what you need to do is understand that their mission, why they're here and what they want to do and how they want to grow and what this human experience is for them is up to them. You can send lots of love and care and respect to them and still move forward. So you can be somebody's cheerleader without having to jump in and fix things. You can say, you know what, I have so much love and respect for that person. I really hope that they figure it out. I'm cheerleading them on from the sides, but they're in the position that they're in. We're in two different spaces and I'm going to move forward, but I'm going to move forward always, being positive and caring and being a cheerleader for when they need that. But ultimately, I have no control over their path. Because a lot of people come into your life and you won't find their end result. You won't find out where they end up. You were there for that period of time. But it's very important that you don't have this bitterness. You don't go and move forward and say, I'm really pissed off because blah, blah, blah didn't take my advice. And look, 2 years later, they're not doing anything now. No, that's not the frequency and the energy that we ever need. You wish them well. And you have to mean it. And that's where the growth area comes from. You have to say, I wish the best for those people. I really hope they find what they're looking for. I really hope if truly it is for them to get that job or to find that person or to really work on that friendship, that they get to that place. But it isn't my responsibility. If they came and they reached out and they wanted help, I would support them. But my boundary is, right now, they don't want the help. Right now, it is their journey. Because a lot of the time, sometimes people don't want to grow because external things need to happen. They need to be in a position where they go, shit, I've had a wake-up call. And that might be part of their journey, to get to a point where they go, wow, I've been sat on this and now I've had this epiphany and it makes sense. You going over there with your soapbox and teaching people is not them learning. It's a different concept. So sometimes you need to be able to say, I wish you all the best. You're maybe on level 8 of the game, okay? You might be on level 10. But you have to remember there's no hierarchy. You're just on a different path at a different stage of the game. So for you to try and get them to relate to your level might not be possible. But again, I'm not saying this is in a hierarchical sense, like one level is better than the other. It's just a completely different energy. They might take another 2 years to get to a place where they say, you said blah, blah, blah to me a while ago and it didn't make sense. But now I've lived some more life experience, it makes sense. So it's really important as an empath that you don't chain your entire sense of being to the impact you have on people in a tangible sense, because often you have a very important impact on people, but it isn't always explicitly apparent in the external. So sometimes you might think, oh, well, okay, they don't want to be helped, that's fine, and move on. But you might have been a catalyst for part of their journey. But yeah, it's very, very important that you do so with this heart of, I wish them all the best, because at the end of the day, we're all I believe we're all spirit beings in human bodies and we're living human experiences. So we're all making mistakes. And if you dig deep enough into your past, there's a whole skeleton closet of mistakes you've made over your lifetime, which is part of the process. It's learning. It's kind of deciding what works and what doesn't for you. So we have to give people grace as we would expect people to give us grace when we're learning. And that's the energy that you need to move forward, because then you don't take any of the toxic energy with you and you process that in this life we're kind of like little atoms that bob around against each other. And sometimes we cause a bit of hurt to each other as an effect of being human, but it doesn't mean that the intention is there. It doesn't mean that because they rebuff what you've said that your worth is any less. It's just accepting that your job is not to be judge and jury on this earth. That's not your job. You're not meant to be higher than anybody else, and you're not meant to impose your judge and jury attitude on other people. It is for them to figure out. And I know we have systems in this human earth. We do have judges and juries. But I think when it comes to human growth and development, that's not our job. They have a whole journey, and they hopefully will use all the resources available to them. They might use spiritual guides, they might use self-help books, they might go to clubs or join communities and find a way to work through those things. But it is not your job to just preach to people every time you feel slightly enlightened or you've worked on something, because everybody's experience is unique. How they integrate their learning is unique, and their journey is their own. It's not your job to push people or level people up. It's their job to decide when they're ready to do the work that they think is necessary.